Hello, and thank you for joining us today. I'm Abby Tularia, coming to you live from Elucidate's headquarters in Rancho Santa Margarita, California. Our webinar today is How to Enhance Your Contacts with Firmographic Information from BusinessCoder. Joining me today is our resident data quality expert, Joseph Vertido. He'll demonstrate how you can add valuable business information to your contact records. But before we jump right in, I want to highly encourage everyone to submit questions. You could type those in at any time during the presentation, and we'll get to those at the end of the demo. Also, I want to let you know that this webinar will be recorded, so if you miss anything or want to forward to someone, you'll be able to do so. So we have a lot to cover, and I'm going to pass over the mic to Joseph. Joseph?
Hello, everyone. My name is Joseph, data quality analyst here at Melissa Data. I think someone might have raised their hand. I just want to check out what's going on here. But anyway, if any of you guys want to, again, ask any questions, we'll do that at the end. So we'll have an opportunity for that. Okay, so let's move on. Today we're going to talk about our BusinessCoder product and something which is called Firmographics. And I know a lot of you have heard or probably aren't familiar with what Firmographics is. But basically, Firmographics, what are Firmographics? These are what demographics are to consumers is what firmographics are to businesses. So demographics, in case you didn't know, these would be information about individuals, people, basically, like their age or maybe their marital status, if they have children, what their occupation is, how long they've lived in a certain residence, things like that. So information about people. But when we say firmographics, this is the exact same thing, only we're referring to businesses, right? So it is a set of descriptive attributes or characteristics for an organization, and really the end goal of firmographics is so that we could gain insight about businesses and in order for us to be able to improve our B2B target marketing segmentation and targeted marketing. Right? So again, the purpose of firmographics really allows us to gain business insight. And so, just a few examples, and we'll see in detail later on exactly what kind of firmographics we're able to, what useful firmographics that we could make use of. But basically, you get things like, their a general location for a business, or maybe the number of employees, or maybe their sales volumes, things like that. This is what gives us business insight on the size and the location of a business. And it also allows us, firmographics allows us to categorize based off of industries. And there's a lot of industries out there. These could be very general industries like healthcare, but then you can sort of drill down even more specifically if you wanted to do so. There's different kinds of clinics and chiropractors or even doctors' offices. These can all be categorized if you wanted to do so through what we call SIC codes. And a lot of people use or have been using SIC codes, but they also came out with a new standard called NAICS codes, which is supposed to be a better version of SIC codes. But not a lot of people use it right now, so both are still popular in their own ways. And then we've also got, it allows us to be able to market better overall. All of this information, all of this analytics lets us market to other businesses much better through marketing segmentation and targeted marketing. We'll see this a little bit later on. And then, we want to prevent the loss of opportunity. Through firmographics, we can also get some contact information. If a business had changed their phone number or maybe, have a new website, things like that. Being able to update the contact information is also essential in being able to get return of investment with firmographics. And of course, included with this always is reporting and analytics. We got to be able to understand the trends in data, based off of the information that we get, like, which businesses do we cater more to, things like that. We want to get all the trends so we can understand our clientele, what we need to improve on, etc. So when we're working with firmographics and marketing, we want to ask ourselves who are actually buying our products, you know, and not only that, but we also want to ask ourselves who are not buying our products. Where do we want to improve ourselves at? And Number three, when we're working with firmographics, we want an overall better understanding of our clientele and the market. And firmographics really allows us to do that. And again, I kind of mentioned this a while ago. Company size is really, and I've categorized this into three major segmentations that you could use in order to kind of analyze your B2B clientele. And the company size is a big thing because when you're communicating with a company based off of a size, um, the approach is very different, right? So approaching, for example, a Fortune 100 company, it will be different when you're trying to approach a mom and pop shop. It's just worlds apart. So you want to be able to base your marketing strategies off of a company size, or at least be able to know what the company size is before before you actually send out your marketing campaigns. This is very important. And also, again, just going back to what we talked about the SIC codes and NAICS codes, the industry, or being able to adjust to certain types of industries is important because your message might resonate much better with them if you tailor all of your advertisements based off of that industry. So um, if you're marketing to healthcare or making banking and finance or maybe even to government industries, it really depends. And knowing beforehand what kind of industry you're dealing with helps you be able to improve where your marketing lacks. Uh, and last but not least, of course, location is the last thing. And a lot of people want to be able to tailor their marketing strategies also based off of location, or maybe do some prioritization based off of location. So like here in Melissa Data, we if we're working with clients that are local to us, we try to work with them, we try to meet them up and things like that. So um, or maybe even based off of location, it really depends on the product you're selling. For example, if climate is a factor, that could be a factor, who knows, but the location in general is something also to consider uh, when regards to marketing and being able to pour in your efforts for marketing, for targeted marketing. And really the benefit of making use of these firmographics ultimately is the goal is really to lower our marketing costs. We want to spend our marketing efforts in better areas, based off of whatever. If we want to cater more to larger size companies and develop enterprise level products for these huge companies, and not cater too much to the smaller businesses, that's fine. But we want to spend our efforts to where we think we'll be able to cater to the most. And then it also allows us to identify new opportunities. Um, if we need new prospects, we'll be able to do that. If we need to update our contact information, we'll be able to do that because, not all businesses, sometimes they update their contact information. This is important to keep all of your data up to date. Right. And again, I've mentioned this several times now, being able to do very effective selling points and creating scenarios for prospects that they can better relate to is very important. And then ultimately resulting in an increase of sales. And it really pays off to know who your customers are. So do your analytics, do your reporting, figure out the trends, figure out where you're lacking as far as industries or company sizes go, or even location. And after you've done all of this profiling of your data and analytics, you'll be able to improve. Where you need to based off of the firmographic information. This is really valuable information here that you can make use of, which where the Melissa Data solution comes into play because our BusinessCoder API really allows you to be able to get all of this information and more. And all you really need to have is basically the address and the company name, or maybe the company's phone number, or maybe an email address or a URL. And given that information, sending it through our API allows you to get a lot of different types of information, like the employee counts, the sales volumes, the industry codes, and I'll show a list of all of the possible returns later on in just a second here. But the Business Coder API we deliver in several different platforms. We have a web service API. If you're not a programmer and you simply have data you want to append Firmographics for, we have an Excel plugin that's really easy to use. For DBAs, we've got SQL Server Integration Services components and Pentaho components. For those of you who use CRM solutions, there's Salesforce and Dynamics. So we offer it in several places. And we know people do have this requirement in a lot of different areas. So we should be able to accommodate you in that sense. Firmographic data. First and foremost, we can standardize information you give us, whether it's a phone number or the company name or the address in itself. We'll standardize and correct all of that information. So if there's anything wrong with your data, we'll be able to fix it. And that's pretty much standard to all of our products. And we stand for data quality, of course. And we can give you the SSIS and NAICS codes. This is for industry categorization. You get, of course, all of the updated contact information, which is your phone number, your email, and your web URL, and then also the indicator for whether the business is in a residential area or a business area. And this is, again, something you can actually use, because if you get a business that's in a residential area, that tells you, hey, maybe this is a home-based business, for example, things like that. Whether or as opposed to when the business is in a business area, then it's more of a institution. So we also get information like whether the business is a headquarters or a branch. This is good because if you're trying to find a headquarters, this is something that can help you out. You got the stock ticker. You get, I think, 2 to 4 letter code that represents the stock name, the stock ticker for that business. And of course, geographically speaking, for location, you get the latitude, longitude. This is rooftop level information, so you get the most accurate information for the lat long. If you do decide you want to map your business information somehow, and then your county and census information, which is pretty much standard with geolocation as well. And in the future, we will it's not available right now, but we do realize that there's a lot of demand for this. But we will be returning executive names, basically, for a business. So you give it like Google.com, and we'll have a list of whatever executives we have for a certain branch, and then their titles as well and their email addresses. So this is something that is very appealing to a lot of people, especially when they're trying to send out campaigns and contacting their prospects. So just to put it out there. All right, so I'd like to show a sample of the Business Coder component in SQL Server Integration Services. Now, I'm not sure if everyone is familiar with SSIS. I don't think we should bother ourselves with that. I'd like to show you functionality at this point, but basically, for those of you who aren't aware, SSIS is just it's an ETL data integration tool that comes with Microsoft SQL Server. So it allows you to extract data, do some transformations on it, and then load it out into the database of your choice, right? So this is what this tool is doing. And basically, what I did here is I have a flat file source, a CSV file that contains, if we take a look here, it contains businesses, basically. I got company names, what their addresses are, city, state, zip code, and their phone number. And I'm using that data, and that's pretty much all I have, by the way. So to begin with, what I'm doing is I'm getting all of that data and I'm passing it through the Business Coder component for SQL Server Integration Services, right? So this is a plugin that we provide for SSIS. We've got several plugins here, not just Business Coder. We got a bunch of other stuff. And if you want to view webinars on all of these components, we do have that on our website. So check that out. So we're passing in all of that data through the Business Coder component. And the way you set up the component is you simply double click that and you provide it with whatever inputs you have, whether it's the company phone number, the company name, or the address, or the web address, or their stock ticker, whatever it is. Just provide the information that you have. Usually, more often than not, it will be the address, of course. And that's what I'm doing right here. I'm putting in the address, the company, and the phone number. And that's pretty much it. And then you tell it what you want to get back for your output. And I'm basically checking all the possible output fields here. So what this is doing is that it will return for me everything that the BusinessCoder API could provide. And that's what I'm telling it to do. And that's pretty much all there is to it. You tell it what your inputs are, and you tell it what you want to get back for your output. And I'm sending all of that information out into a new file, a new flat file, CSV file destination, and that's pretty much it. If you run this package, you run this project, you'll see that it takes all of that information. I've got 150 rows here, passes it through the business coder component, and now I get back my results. So this is what my results look like, right? Everything over here to the left, from company to phone, this is all my original input information. And if I scroll over here to the right, this is where I get all the good stuff. I get location type. Location type is for determining whether it's a headquarters, a branch, a single location. So these are the number indicators for that. Phone numbers are standardized and corrected. Web addresses, these are all appended, and if we have the information in our data, we will basically append it for you. So for those that we have the URLs for or the web addresses for, we'll certainly provide that. Employee estimate, for all of these specific businesses, how many employees do they actually have for that branch? And this can range a lot. This will vary depending on the size of the company and the location. And then same thing with sales estimate, how much sales do they make? And this is in the thousands. So scrolling over here a little bit more, we get back also the standardized company name, the standardized addresses. See now, the suites are nicely put in their own field. The addresses are all title cased. The pre-directions are abbreviated when necessary, and so with the suffixes, they're abbreviated the way they should be. City, state, zip code are all appended. Delivery indicator, whether the location is a business or a residence, you get that back. Melissa address key. Now this one is a proprietary proprietary field to Melissa Data. It's basically a unique key for every single business and address. So if you want to, for example, create a unique key or a key, this will be able to you'll be able to use this one. This will be unique to all addresses as an index, if you will. And of course, you get SIC codes. There's a total of 3 SIC codes that you can get. So sometimes you do get 3, sometimes you get 2, or sometimes you get 1. And you also get the NAICS codes. There's 3 possible NAICS codes you can get, just like SICs. And then you get the descriptions for each of these. So you get the descriptions for the SIC codes, all 3 of them. And this is where it kind of tells you what kind of industries they're related to. Same thing goes with the NAICS codes. You get all of the descriptions for that. So, and finally, you get all of the lat long information. Again, rooftop, accurate information for latitude, longitude, as well as the county and census information for counties, place code, place name, and census tract, census block. So, really good stuff. A lot of information. But this is how you would get it. Again, all you need is the address of the business. You don't even need the business name if you got the exact address for that business and you want to find out if there's a business there. And there's a couple of other things you can do here, by the way, in case you haven't realized it. So just going back, for example, over here, you don't necessarily have to have the company name. You can just, again, put in just the address. So right now, if I set that to none, no phone number, no name, and I just put the address. If you put an address, for example, here, Melissa Data, 223 Avenida Impresa, you will get back the Melissa Data company name and all of the firmographics tied to that. So really cool stuff. Or if you only have the phone number, right, and you didn't have the address, for example, we can accommodate that. We'll append not only the firmographics for that company, but we'll give you the address. So the reverse phone append, basically, for addresses. Give it a phone number, you get all the address, the company name, etc., etc. You get everything back. Same thing with the web address. You can give it just the web address. If you got a list of URLs, a lot of people have this list. I've seen this before. You give it a bunch of URLs, we'll give you all the information about that business, their address and phone number. So you don't have to, a lot of people do uh, I forgot the term for it, but the screen crawl, I believe, to get some information. But through this, you can just give it a URL, and we automatically have all the firmographics for you. And same thing with the stock ticker, right? uh, where are we? I think, yeah, this is a short webinar just showing capabilities of our new business coder component. And by the way, if you're wondering how we're able to do this, we're getting all this data from a multitude of sources, not one, not two, but a couple of them, right? And what we've done is we've combined all of these data sources from all of our premium providers, and we've consolidated them into a single data source. And this is how we're able to provide, or this is how you're able to query the data in different ways, and you're able to get all sorts of good information about businesses for your firmographics through this consolidated data. So um, if you want to set up a trial, I have put up the link up here, but we'll send out the information again. But if you go to our website and go to our cloud service section, you'll see Business Coder in there. You could set up a trial. Um, and if, for example, you prefer the SSIS route, just as what I have shown, you could definitely download the components for that. Again, this is you get the trials for any of our products, or you could just email sales@melissdata.com. That's fine too, and they'll work with you on that. So my information is on the screen for anyone who want to get in touch with me. If you're not able to right now, my information is here. You can email me, call me if you have any other questions, and I'll work with you. All right. So, Abby?
Yes. Thank you, Joseph. Another great webinar. So now we're moving on to the Q&A portion, as Joseph said. So if you have any questions, you can type them in now. I also want to remind you again that I'll be sending a link to a recording of today's webinar, and you should be getting that in an email tomorrow. All right, let's see what we've got. Can I pull data with just the URL? How many of your companies have URL in the data?
So regarding the URL information, so yes, for first part of the question, I think I did answer this. You can pull data with just the URL. How many of our companies have URL in the data? Obviously, we are not going to have every single URL for every possible company out there, but this data, the good thing about most data and our data is that we keep growing, right? So right now, at the top of my head, I don't know. It's going to be definitely in the millions. I can tell you that, probably over 10 million URLs in the data, and that only gets better over time. So we maintain this data, we update it, and you expect to get more over time.
Oh, another great question. What happens when you provide an address for identifying a company and there are multiple companies associated to this address, for example, in a big office building?
So there's actually two parts to this question that I'm seeing, right? So multiple matches in general. If, for example, you put in an exact address, for example, let's take, for example, Melissa data address, right? So we're located at 22382 Avenida Impresa. You put in that address. In our building alone, we actually have about 4 businesses, right? There's Melissa Data, there's used to be Cohen and Pratt, and a bunch of other companies, right? So they're all here in the same building. We all have the same address. So if you put in just the address without the company name through Business Coder, we will provide you with what we call the dominant business. So we have that logic in there, and it's actually an option in the web service. If you turn that option on, we will return for you the dominant business for a location. And I know people, this happens a lot. We have algorithms that will try to provide you with or for determining what the dominant business is. And these are reliable determinations. Like we base it off of this total sales size, the number of employees, and a lot of times the differences is pretty huge. So that's the first part. The second part is when you give it a building, right? A building address. Now, in a building, you can have what, more than 20, even 100 companies in a single building. That's possible. Um, the thing with building addresses is that they require a suite, right? They require it. There's no way for you to be able to send mail, for example, to a building without a company name, without the suite information, and expect that mail to get to whoever it is you're trying to send it to. You need a suite for that, basically. So following that logic, if you give it a building address without the suite and without the company name, I don't think it makes sense to assume that any one of those companies in that building is what we should return. So that's how it works.
Can you show the Excel functionality?
Well, I'm not particularly prepared for that right now, but let's see, maybe yeah, I don't have anything right now. But basically, if you go to Excel, if you go to Excel, uh, notice that there's a new tab here. If you install our components for Excel, you get a new tab up here basically, and you get a bunch of different components in here. I don't have it installed right now. I need to get the latest version. This is a new product, so but if you install the latest version, you should have something here, and you should be able to use it in Excel. So same with all the other products here.
Okay, just waiting for more questions. Okay, is this a part of Listware? Is BusinessCoder a part of Listware?
Yeah. So regarding the Excel plugins, I know for a fact that they have been working on it. Maybe it's not officially available yet, but if we really, really want to try it right now, I'm sure we can give you something. I know that our programmers have been working on this. Maybe it's not officially released yet. I don't know. That department works a little bit separate from us, but I know that we will have it. If not right now, then in the future we most certainly will. But if you want to try something right now, maybe we can discuss something. I'm pretty sure we can give you something for that.
Okay, looks like that's all the time we have right now. If you did submit a question and we could not get to it, you can contact Joseph via email or phone. His email address is joseph@melissadata.com. And again, thank you so much for attending our webinar. Have a great day and see you next time.